Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Alternative Cycling Network. And it's 2021. Turns out video is a thing. And in this episode, I and my co-host, Michael from Spinnet and Zach Gallardo from Zach Gallardo.
That's me.
We're going to give you the super pro bike YouTuber tips on how to film your ride, how to edit, and other techniques and things to think about in the process. And we're also going to have some special guests that will be dropping in about 14 minutes. So let's see who those special guests are.
The preview is it looks a lot like this, and then this, and
Right.
all this is same time. Is this, and then you put the camera up, and it's like that. And it's like,
There you go.
that's YouTube right there, baby. That's YouTube right there.
Nice.
That's it.
Pretty much. Show's over. Okay.
All right, that's it. And all right.
I think as of now, we're all four of us are still doing this full time, right? That hasn't changed.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay,
Still
so we're-
broke. Yep.
Yeah. still living the dream.
Yep. Yep.
Let's get the gear question out of the way, because I know people are going to ask like what cameras we shoot with. Michael, since you have them in your mouth and close
That's
to you, what are the cameras that you use the most when you're filming a ride?
So it really does vary. I had a whole vlog series, and if anybody were to watch that, it's on my channel. I went through like 8 different camera setups for the first bit because I couldn't decide what was perfect. And I've kind of overall refined it. So I did a few videos on this if you do search it on my channel. So the big one that I use now, which has changed, that's been really helpful, is this DJI Osmo Pocket. This is awesome. It's basically a gimbal off of the drone onto this little stick mechanism. It's not perfect. There are some shots with like an action camera that are easier to achieve without this. But this, as far as for vlogging, especially for like non-aggressive terrain, because you can hold it, is great. But there's no easy way to mount this to like a bite mount or a chest mount. It doesn't really work great with a chest mount anyway. So this is my predominant camera for most vlogs. Then I have what I call my Ching Pro, which is my China GoPro, that is on this bite mount that I have. That's really convenient because it also has the GoPro. I don't know what they call this, like the slide in like click mount for like your chesty.
Yeah.
So I like this one because you can I have a top cap for my bike that has this mount on it. So I can simply like slide it into that and then also use it as a bite mount for like the first person view. If I don't want to carry the chest mount, because the chest mount, I like how it looks, but it's really bulky to carry and everything.
And you look like an absolute ass whenever you use the chest mount.
I'm riding on the trail like, I'm getting paid for this. This is fine. Don't worry about it. This is making me money. Like I gotta, it's not awesome. It's not great for a lot of. Also, you can't, like, if I'm doing this on like a descent, it's not as bad. But like on a climb, I'm like,
right.
Just trying to breathe. Yeah, I'm trying to breathe. But it's very stable for what it is. And then the last camera that I'll use, depending on the vlog or whatever it is, or if I want like good stills, this is an old what is this? A Mark III Sony RX.
Mm-hmm.
So I like this one, and I did a video more in depth about it, but because this one still had the wide angle lens. So this one still is the 1.8 f-stop, but it's the 16 to 50 or 55, something like that. Yeah. And it has the flip up screen with the little like microphone mounts. It's really good, and it looks awesome, and it has some image stabilization. After the Mark III, they went to a higher f-stop and a more zoom lens, which doesn't work for us because like this, I still got to do the full like arm reach, right. But it looks really good.
I love those compact cameras. I wish they just made them like 5 millimeters wider on the wide end.
But I think, here we go. So you see that silver mark right there? That was me eating shit, and then it scraped it to where the lens stopped popping out because it actually like messed up the aluminum between the two. Because when you do that, it did it. Of course, it does it this time. But a lot of the lens shutter now doesn't open up to where I got to like do that, and then it pops open all the way. I do that a lot now. Still functions, but it's not great.
Nice.
But yeah, so that's my obviously I want to get an Osmo Action because I like their color science for this, for the stability. For point and shoot, I don't use it that much. So I think Osmo Action and my Osmo Pocket have been my kind of favorite go-to.
How about you, Zach? When you go out on a ride, how much camera gear do you bring?
So it depends on the type of ride that I'm doing. So I'll have rides where I'm just riding my bike, and then I'll have rides where I'm.
You can do that?
Yeah, it's amazing. You should try it sometime. It's a lot of fun riding a bike and not recording it. And then, so I'll keep my rides separate. Like if I'm just riding my bike, then if I feel inspiration, I'll just pull out my phone, snap some pictures, take some video. It's a Galaxy Note 8 if you're curious. And when I'm on a ride, say if like I'm vlogging a ride, then I use my main camera, which is a Canon M50 with a 24mm lens on it. But the more important thing is actually the microphone. This is a Rode VideoMic Pro. Any video maker will tell you that the audio is way more important than the video quality, because if the audio sucks, no one's going to watch it. But if you have crappy image quality, but the audio is good, it's still watchable. And then I'll do my just riding videos where I just strap a GoPro Hero 7 to my chest, and that works out. And most recently I got, as per recommendation from Russ, is the Insta360. And this thing has been really cool because you can get a lot of different angles with it. Most importantly, you can get third-person angles, and it looks like you just have this floating camera that's tracking you while you're riding your bike. And I made an entire video on it. Go check it out after the stream.
Cool. Nice.
Yeah, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah. How about you, Eric? What camera do you use?
I've been using, like, for any vlogging on the bike, I bring I think it's like the 2018 GoPro Hero that has the same dead cats that Mike has glued all over his. Basically, just wind noise killed me for the longest time, especially like living by water and riding by water all the time. Like my videos were so windy, and I fought with that for the longest time. So like buying that camera, being able to like stick that over the mic holes, got it to a point that I didn't mind editing my dialogue. And then the next step was like, okay, I ride mountain bikes quite a bit. Mountain bikes make some, they get featured on the channel quite a bit. And I was like, well, chest mount footage on those is hard to watch because it's so shaky and blurry. So I was like, I'll get a gimbal. Gimbals, like you talk about looking like a loser with just a chest mount on, like strap a gimbal on as well.
Oh yeah.
It's and they don't work that great. Like I'm not like I think out of all four of us, like I am willing to put the least amount of effort into like setup, image quality.
I don't know. I feel like you do the most editing. Like
Editing, yes.
Yes. You do like a ton of cuts. Like I'm really lazy. It's like I'll just do like a straight up A-cam shot for the whole thing. Sometimes.
Yeah. So I'll edit a lot, but like to get a shot, like I will not. Like even to go out with someone, like I'm just like I feel like I'm in position at all times. Like to go out and ride with, even if someone's like, "Can we go shoot a video together?" I feel like I'm bothering them to ask them to do it again. So I'll be like, it's good enough. Let's go. If I know that we're going to go shoot something like that, I've got the same, I call it the big camera, same big camera setup as Zach. I've got an M50. It's still the kit lens on it because I like to do that dramatic Casey Neistat.
The 2007 snap zoom. Got it.
Snap zoom.
Yep.
But then same thing. I fought a long time with audio quality on that. I thought I broke the audio jack on that camera. I didn't. It just turns out that all the microphones I was using were trash. Especially like even the Rode VidMic Go. Don't buy that. That's a bad microphone. It's $100 that you'll waste. Do not buy it. It's trash. I have the VidMic Pro now. It looks like you have the Plus, Zach. Do you have the Plus?
Is the Pro Plus.
You had the power. Yeah, he's got the powered one.
Yeah, so mine's powered too, but Zach's is a little bit bigger, and when you're done shooting, it'll power off for you. Mine doesn't power off, which is annoying because like you leave
forget
your
the battery
camera,
and then it's dead. Yep.
and then you got a dead battery. So yeah, GoPro on the bike. I very rarely bring a big camera with me, unless like if I have a backpack, maybe I'll have like my old A5000, Sony A5000 with me.
Yep.
And if I
Same.
want some nice shots, like while you're standing somewhere, I'll do that. But like my GoPro is like side mounted or in a pocket, and like while I'm riding, I can grab it and start talking right away. GoPro did a really good like job of getting their cameras ready for you as quick as possible with the one touch power on.
My Ching Pro does that.
Does it? Yeah. Like
auto on. Yeah.
I didn't think that I would like that feature. Like I thought I'd like to turn the camera on first, but like it doesn't accidentally turn on. So, that's good. Like when you've got a thought and you want to get it out, having your camera on in like 2 seconds, that's an advantage. I don't worry super a lot about cameras, but I do, after the video is done, I'm like, I could have done that better. But here we are. Upload.
Right. Upload
Yeah.
and then delete the files.
Yeah,
Yeah,
delete
yeah,
it.
yeah,
I don't even want to think about it.
Yeah. Screw that video. Yeah.
So for me, I'd use a Hero Session on occasion. I like that on the Chesty because it's less bouncy and slightly less dorky. On the trail. Still there, but at least it's smaller. My favorite like A cam, like if I'm doing a piece to camera, is actually this one, and it's this ancient Sony X something, X3000, and I like it
with
because,
rubber bands. Yeah.
yeah, it's got a rubber band here holding just some random wind muff.
Yep.
And out of all like the action cams I've tried, this has the best audio. So if I'm going to do a lot of piece to camera, this is what I like to carry. And it uses there's actually a mechanical stabilization in here, not quite a gimbal, but there is like, so it works slightly better in lower light than the GoPro would. And then been experimenting with the Insta360. And I found like a pretty interesting use case for this is like when I'm doing a bike review and Laura can't ride with me, I can just put it on the selfie stick and it looks like someone's, riding with you.
That's like, I'm super jealous of that shot. That's like that. 100%. Like, oh man. Like I have to, luckily my buddy like that I ride with, he'll come out every once in a while and he's learned, like now he gets like jazzed when he can like nail the shot, and I'll text him like, bro, that looked great. And he'll be like, I got this, And so, but yeah, it's like, that's the shot that I'd love to be able to go get, is that third person. You and Zach both have it nailed down, like the front forward facing.
It looks
and
cool. It looks like
it
looks like a car's in front of you shooting backwards.
Yeah. There's one other guy, I can't remember his channel name, that I've seen recently. He's totally doing the same shot. And yeah, that's the one. What?
GCN?
No. It's another. It's the I think it's Just Ride Bikes.
Okay.
He's English guy, but he does like a lot of the big brand stuff. But anyways, no, that shot, super jealous of. Like that would be super rad.
I forgot that I also have an Insta360.
Okay, then I'm the only one. Well, then, you know what? It's like, come on, your boy's struggling here.
As a matter of fact, I think I got it, and then Russ, you bought it after you saw me with it.
Yeah, and then
and then I hit up Zach's Connect, and I still haven't gotten one.
I'll get another one and give it to you.
There we go. All right, just be like, I broke one. It's fine. They'll never watch this. It's okay. Yeah.
I'm going to answer one question. So Bike Sauce here asks, downsides to using separate recorder like Tascam DR10. So Zach, you'd mentioned, and I think, totally agree with you that audio makes the biggest difference in a good video. Have you experimented with like a separate audio or like what's
so I actually do both. So I do have a separate audio recorder, and for this is a Zoom H1N. It's like $100 on Amazon, and I use this mostly for just like when I'm making a video when I'm just talking to a camera, because it gets better audio quality. It doesn't pick up so much surrounding noise as much. But then I really like this because it's convenient. It's very easy to run and gun, and it's just like if I'm riding my bike and I just want to get a quick shot that looks pretty good and sounds pretty good, this will get that, and I don't have to go through the whole process of syncing the audio and clapping and all that nonsense.
Yeah, I just got the same like similar setup for when I shoot at home. I shoot my Zoom One, and then for on the like if I'm shooting outside or like doing mobile stuff, I just picked up this setup like the other day, and it's been pretty decent. It was like I don't know. Balalia? I have no idea. We can throw it in the links if anybody wants it, but it's like $80. It's kind of big, but this lasts 12 hours or something ridiculous. Yeah. So I had a lot of the problems with the Rode Video Mic Go's that you have, Russ. Like I love those, but my channel at my pay rate cannot afford the difference. So this was $80. It's real big, but it lasts super long. Yeah. But this is what I use when I want to film like shooting stuff outside because I live in a studio. So like if I need to film me working my bike, it has to be my patio.
And you got that recently, right? Because I felt like it's within the last couple months that your audio quality really improved.
Yeah, and it's just for outside. Like the nice thing with this is just like Zach said is the problem I had was the H1. I would sit outside and use it and just leave it on, and then I had to remember to clap each clip, and I would forget, and then I try to sync it, and it never would sync right, or the battery would die. And then I wouldn't know, and it doesn't beep on you beforehand. It doesn't be like, oh, I'm almost dead. It just like it's done, and then 20 minutes later, you're like, oh, damn it! Like, and then you have
to re-record the whole video.
Yeah. So I would just So basically, this for $80, it's a big. The receiver is just as big, but this goes for like 12 hours, and it's USB rechargeable. So I just leave this plugged in the camera to where, as long as I'm mic'd, I can do whatever. And everything's set up prior, like all the output and everything else. Again, with the 12-hour like charge time, there's no way I'm ever going to run it out like in a day. So you just kind of set it and forget it, the QVC thing. And so that was basically what I do. So I don't have to remember it, and I can just focus on what I'm doing instead of okay, how much battery do I have? Is the indicator, did it just go on for the one, or is it been on there for a while? Because you never know. And so it just saves a lot of time in just headache, and then not having to sync. I think the Zoom sounds best, but it's not. It's obviously not as user friendly.
So interestingly, I never record separate audio. I say never. I do it every so often. I did it with this. Like this room's really bad for it, but the new microphone seems to pick up anything that's really talking to it a lot better than any other camera or mic that I've had. But there's a feature with Final Cut that you can take your two clips and you can just tell it to sync it for you. And it does it. Like you don't have to put the two in the timeline. You just say these two are the same clip, sync them. And it just creates a compounded clip that is ready to go. Am I going to separately record audio? No, still not. Because like people used to ask me this all the time on the bike when there was lots of wind. They're like, why don't you record your audio separately? I'm like, you have any idea the things that I am navigating already? I'm riding through a city. There's snow and ice on the ground. I literally dug through my pocket to pull this tiny GoPro out. I'm trying to shield it from wind
and not crash
tell a
into
story
something.
And not crash. When I'm riding, right? No, I'm not going to also be like, oh, just a second here.
You have to tell them this is all the work that I do. It is right here. It is the 30 seconds of double-sided tape I put on the camera. So it's tolerable. You're welcome. That's it. Yep.
So both Eric and Zach alluded to this so far as writing and thinking about filming. When you guys go out to film a ride, how much of it do you have like a loose script planned out, or are you very much improvising as you go, or do you have like a narrative arc that you want to do ahead of time? Zach, how about you go first?
Yeah. So if I'm recording a ride, I'll just write a quick outline for something that's like a bigger topic that the ride relates to. And then I'll just I'll plan a route and then talk about each point along my route. just to keep things visually interesting.
Yeah. How about Eric? You
Yeah, sort of.
sort of.
Like I'll certainly have a topic in mind. It's funny. I'll have that internal crazy person dialogue, like YouTuber crazy person dialogue, where you're like, okay, well, but then when
That's exactly how it sounds.
Hit that subscribe button.
and then there'll be like sometimes I'll go out and I venture. I am a tangent type of person. I just go on tangents, and so I'll certainly go out. I'll have an idea of like how I want it to round it all together. Usually there's like an hour of talking out on the ride, along with all the like very, very typical, like I shot over here to get from one thought to another. That's editing stuff really, but you want to film for the edit too. So yeah, there's certainly a loose idea. And then when I get to the edit and I'm like back to not thinking about being on the bike, and I'm like, okay, let's see what I actually said. And did I forget anything? Because like I forget, like there'll be these points. The worst time to think about good points is, and the best time to come up with those ideas, but the worst time to think of them is in bed before you're about to fall asleep. The day before you want to do that shoot, you're like,
it's called don't sleep, or you won't sleep. Yeah.
Well, I won't sleep, and then like when I do fall asleep, I'll wake up and be like, oh, I had this genius point and it's gone. And I'm never going to think of it again until, of course, the video is uploaded, all the footage is deleted, and I'm like,
that's what it was. I remember now.
Mike, how about you? How much planning do you do when you're shooting out a ride bed?
It depends. I mean, usually like there's very few I'll go out like topic based. I've done that periodically, but that's just like never super been my thing. Of like a talking point, but like if I go do a ride, I usually only film a ride that I've never done let's say call it a vlog for. So kind of like Eric is I've done this long enough to where I know if I'm going to talk, I need to shoot some random crap for a little bit so that I can use that before the next talking point, whether that's a mileage update and like, hey, whatever, like the best case scenario is like when I did my Century ride from Orange County to San Diego, very popular ride, 100-mile ride. Wanted to show the views for people who maybe wanted to do it. So I try to show like the best parts of it and then also like notable parts of the ride. So every 10 to 20 miles, I would try to do something about where we're at, how long we're in, saying like, look, I'm probably relative pace to what you'd probably be wanting to do if you wanted to do this ride. And then what you kind of go expect, here's what we're eating, just like to help somebody prep and inspire. And then there's rides that like I don't know. Like I did the DIY Grinduro ride that I did on the day for Grinduro this year because of COVID. And I was just like, I'm going to shoot as much as I can. But there was so much stuff that I was trying to keep up with this one guy that showed up that was just a monster. And, and I'm just like trying to film and like make it a video and like trying to keep up with this guy. And so there's some rides, especially on dirt, where it's just challenging to film unless like you commit to, again,
That's why you got to get a $15,000 gravel e-bike. I know, right? Yeah, I know the subtle flex. Yes, yeah. We all need the subtle. Yeah, we all need S-Workses. Yes, I would love that. By the way, I think it totally makes sense. Like if you're doing a big ride,
for sure. And
you want to shoot
100%. Yeah, like that would be amazing. Like I've done that for an old shop I worked at. We had. Sold Giants, and we did a Fullerton loop, which is like a known little mountain gravel loop by us. It's like 13 miles, and it was great because we did a huge shop ride, 50 something people or whatever pre-COVID, and like I would laugh at all of the racers because I would smash them on all the climbs. Take like amazing photography of them like doing wheelies up like the ascents and stuff. It all looked amazing. And then everyone would pass me, and then I would just ride past everybody and then get up to the next segment and then go do it. And it was super great. So I 100% have done it, what he's doing, and totally wish I could. But yeah, we all need it. So
yeah, I think for For me, I generally try to have a point that I'm trying to communicate with the video. And I think of, there's got to be an intro, obviously, and there's got to be a closer. If it's an event like I think the toughest thing that we've written and tried to film was Dirty Kansas.
Mm-hmm.
And
For sure.
part of it was the physical aspect, but like when you guys go out and ride and film, like you're super stoked to film like the first 15 minutes.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And then all the mileage. Just like,
Yeah, and then
And then it's suddenly dark out in the video.
you know what I mean?
So like knowing that this would happen, knowing that I would be like mentally and physically fatigued, I actually set a timer. Like for every
Wow.
half hour, I would do a video update. Even if I didn't use it, like I would read out the mileage and elevation and stats, because I knew
That's amazing.
I could lean on that as kind of a narrative crutch if nothing else of note happened, and it just gave a sense of like narrative progress. So and like that was the first time I did that intentionally, but now when we do like tours or something, I always do like a 1 hour check-in, or every 1,000 feet of climbing another check-in, just to at least have that in the can. So if I need a roll to cover a span of time, there's at least that. So
That's a super smart. I never thought about like the timestamp. I usually do like mileage, if anything, and that's even loose. There's been many of rides where I've like, it'll like kind of fade to black, and it's like, oh, I'm at my house. Oh, well, this is the last 20 miles. Like, this is what happened. But yeah, no, I like the timestamp is honorable. I think one thing I saw in the comments that we should address, because I think all of us have probably dealt with this, was Mikey Non, the music choice. I'd love to hear everybody's input on this. I know mine, but like, yeah.
I've been using, I think it's Epidemic Sound.
Yeah, I
So
use
it's
that
like
too.
Subscription, and you get access to the library, and it's better. And it's better insofar as you don't have to worry about paying individual royalty free fees. I did that for a time. But what's funny is like most of the videos now I don't have any music, just because I'm trying to bang them out as quickly as possible.
Right. I've been experimenting with that a little bit, but I was using a lot of SoundCloud people. I was just stealing a lot of Casey music. I wanted to get away from that a little. I knew that I would have this creative arc, and because I've built my life the same way. Like, oh, there's someone that I adore. I'm gonna model myself after them a little bit. I was doing that when I was like 8 years old. It's like, here's a role model. I'm gonna do what they do, and then like eventually, like they fade out a little bit. Obviously that stays.
Yeah.
But then there's someone else that you're like, oh, I like that. And then eventually that molds you into who you are. And that's what happened to me in my videos. Like when I started, I was like, I'm just going to copy GCN just for like cheaper stuff. Like I'm just going to, like my logo, like my thumbnails, they were the same. And then I was like, then I came across Casey's vlogs. I was like, oh my God, these are so captivating. So I started.
And he's like going to the
modeling.
gas station. Yeah.
And I'm like, well, like my God, like people already watch my videos. I must be able to make cycling that exciting, and that worked. That was what made the channel grow to this point.
Yeah.
But like if I look at one of my videos now, I'm like, I think you only see maybe 10%, 15% of that. That motivation, or that sort of, whatever. And then you'd see other stuff. You'd certainly see stuff from like Peter McKinnon. You'd see like, none of it is really cycling channel motivated anymore. It's all other YouTubers that I'm like, okay, I want to incorporate that into what I'm doing a little bit.
Yeah, I definitely get more inspiration from YouTubers from outside of cycling.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Yeah.
And speaking of other YouTubers, we've got
Oh,
our
yeah.
special guest. You like
We're
that?
15
segue?
minutes late.
Right in there. Subtle.
Today.
Hey, we've
I
never
thought you
seen
meant
this
like
layout.
I thought you meant like a week from now, and I was just like out shooting video, like trying to get the last light, and then I was like checking my Instagram. Oh God, it's now! I made it.
Sorry, like yeah, I totally sent Ryan the link like I don't know 40 minutes ago.
Oh yeah, he's like she's joined right. I'm like, yeah, we're all good. We don't. Yeah, it's all good.
Yeah, we're good. Sorry.
Lauren,
Hi.
we only know the topic like 4 minutes before you found out what it is. Don't even worry about it.
There's no.
I almost put in like more details, and I was like, no, he'll send the details later. I'll
Yeah.
figure it out.
Nope.
Details.
No,
What
no
details,
details.
Russ? Are you holding out? What is going on? Okay.
Right,
Well,
we've
it'll
got
It'll be fun when Darren comes home because she has no idea. So
Oh, perfect. Perfect.
I figured I'd just leave it spontaneous.
That's how we do it.
Red Bike Adventure in the house. We're going to talk about like YouTube tips. We just covered cameras. Like, do you
Okay.
have what are your go-to cameras when you shoot?
So I just switched because I had an A6300 that was like supposed to be my main camera, but I just found that I never would use it because it was so much bigger than just using the Sony Action, the same one that you have been using, the FDR-X3000. Ooh, what a mouthful.
Damn,
And-
she knows model names. All right. Well, there we go.
I had to say it so many times that I actually remembered it. No, the camera that I'm currently using, I've had to look that up. Like, what is that thing called? But yeah, I found myself not using it because it was so big and bulky, and I just wouldn't take it out. And so recently I sold that, and I ended up getting the RX100 6. What, I don't remember what
There
number it is.
Yep, that's fine.
That thing, is that what you have too?
Yeah, that's I got a 30 because that's what the budget afforded.
Yeah.
But also, yeah.
Yeah. No, I could afford it because I sold the old GoPro and I sold that other camera and some lenses. So I was like, all right, it's time. And I find myself using that so much more because you can just put it in your pocket. It's so much smaller. Like the convenience factor is so huge for me.
Is that the newest one with like the 200 millimeter? Like,
I think that
is
zoom
the-
lens
yeah.
on it.
I think it is the
there's-
newest one.
They just came out with one. It's called I think it's the ZX or ZF. There's one they came out with was like the RX, but like for vloggers. Let's use the big air quotes for that one. And it's got a dead cat like accessory built into the set of it, and it's supposed to have a microphone that's directional, but the camera chooses. So if you're talking in front, it's supposed to be directional towards you, and if you're behind it, so that the audio is not crappy either direction.
Right.
In theory.
In theory, I'll look it up in the background. But
I'm always skeptical of that, like because the
That
GoPro tried
one's-
to do that with the 3 mics, and it was like always getting the wrong one. It just have no audio. I was like,
if mine blows up and I make okay money, that would be this is the camera I would get. But yeah, no, it's essentially the RX. It's cheaper because it's
That's
less
nice.
photography based and a little more videography based.
Word.
But yeah, here it is. ZV1.
Yeah.
Okay, I
or
hadn't
dash
heard
one.
of that. I hadn't
Yeah,
heard. I mean,
It's
whatever
yeah,
has
it's got the-
battery is what I'm
Yeah.
using. Like, I
Yeah,
always
yeah, exactly, yeah,
forget the
yeah,
batteries.
yeah.
I'm like, I use
And
my
that's
phone
not,
again.
yeah, exactly, yeah.
So we've covered cameras and audio and a little bit about music. Let's talk about video editing because I feel like that's a big hump for a lot of people to get over, just because it's so it's expensive in time. Ryan, since you just jumped in, like, what's your process? Like, you've shot a ride.
Mm-hmm.
How do you sort through the footage, and how do you tell a story out of all of it?
Yes, I actually just create. My ADHD brain, like, I just realized this, like, 35 years into my life. Oh, I have ADHD. I should make lists. So I just like made a list. Like, these are the things you need to do. But ideally, I will pull the footage, put it on an external drive, like separate it into folders. And I usually just let it sit in there, and I'll back it up onto another drive. But then I use Final Cut Pro X simply because, oh dear, one of my dogs has gotten outside. Sophia.
It's fine. Zach's dog was sitting on his lap at the end of the last episode.
I think I left the back door open. Sophia, hi, come on back inside. Sorry. I use Final Cut Pro X just because I had a Mac already, and I had taken a few like editing courses in college, and I had used Final Cut Pro. So I was just like, I'm just going to do that for now. And I liked that you just bought it and you don't have to pay a monthly fee. So I wasn't sure if I was going to continue doing this. But yeah, sometimes I will create like a project file and just put all of the footage into the timeline, kind of that style. And then other times I think probably the better thing to do would be to construct, like pull out the best clips. But right now I just find like dumping all the footage in, seeing how much, dear God, how much did I film first? And then I'll just kind of whittle down from there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How about you, Eric? What's your what's your video editing process look
I'm gonna
like?
go get my dog real
Yes,
quick. I'm
let's
so
do
sorry.
I do the exact same thing. Shoot everything, get all of the footage, and throw it into whatever project file you created for, like, because I'm supposed to daily vlog and I never do. I just dump all of it into the timeline, and then like edit from there. The hardest part is, like, I usually do end up shooting on a couple different cameras.
Mhm.
So, like, I might have the Insta360 with me, because I do have the Hero 7 if I'm doing a bunch of like chest mount stuff, and the 2018 Hero. Though the computer has a hard time with those two files, so like it doesn't come out properly in the timeline. Like I might have like chest mount footage that finished the day and finished the ride, and it might be like halfway in the video where like something I've said, you know, around that same time might be all the way at the end. So you got to like pick and choose in the timeline where that's going to be. Certainly, like most of my videos have a pretty normal like construct where it's like I walk into the shed, or like I walk in somewhere and I'm grabbing a bike and I'll introduce the like narrative for that story.
Mhm.
And I always love, like, I love throwing in random stuff, but like I've gotten away from it because I don't know that people actually like it. And then I like will do whatever that day is going to be, and then usually if like that didn't do a good enough job, like if I don't feel like it did, I'll like wrap it up by being in the shed again.
Yeah.
I'll be like, okay, this is what, you know, this is kind of what you missed or whatever, and then like find out if you did a good enough job in the edit. And I think for anybody who's like a beginner, or like you might hear the rule of thumb where it's like you got to shoot an hour of footage to get like 3 minutes of usable video, like, or something. That's relatively true. It's certainly different for vlogging because you're going to do a lot of talking, so you're actually going to get more usable footage than you think, and your video is probably better than you think too. Like the amount of times that I've come inside from like a Tinker Tuesday video and I'm like, wow, that was terrible. Like that, I didn't have the parts, I didn't have this, I didn't have that, and I shot for 45 minutes and I was in the shed for 4 hours.
I feel like we're all relating to this.
Yeah.
It's like the
It's
test
just-
taking phenomenon
just-
where you
yeah.
think you did terribly and it's like actually surprisingly
The
good.
the subtle tears are you can't see them on my camera, but they're there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then you're editing it and you're like,
Like, there's something here.
yeah, this is watchable. I'm gonna post
For
it.
for someone, I don't know who it is, but for somebody.
My process is literally getting a rough draft and then having Darren watch it to tell me it's not absolute crap. I'm like, okay, it's not absolute crap. Okay, we're good.
I'm super happy with not happening.
Yeah, yeah.
How about you, Zach? Do you have a process that you follow for video editing?
So I'm very much like it's like you could choose your demon. You either spend more time in pre-production or you spend more time in post-production. And working with Michael on a couple of videos, I learned that he's very much a post-production guy and I'm very much a pre-production guy.
That's interesting. Yeah.
I meticulously plan and outline all my videos. I will write down a shot list and only get those shots unless I'm feeling particularly inspired. And for me, I'd rather have really good clips than 100 okay clips. Like I'd rather have like 5 good clips that I can use forever than getting just like clips that look like everything else. And so editing is actually my favorite part of making videos because it's the point where everything just coalesces and comes together. And I also have that process where I'm like, this video sucks. Should I even finish editing? And
You gotta power through it.
yeah, it's like you always just whenever you just like power through it and just finish it and judge it after it's actually done, like, and the moment that you realize, oh, like this is actually really fine. And sometimes you'll even surprise yourself when you actually make a good video when you thought it was really bad.
Yeah,
And
right.
those are the favorite moments for me, when you're hitting your head against the wall, but then you just keep doing it, and then it just works out somehow. And it all comes to me when it's editing.
And
So it's funny
But
that
you
you
make-
say that. I'm gonna jump in again anyway. But it's so funny that you say that. There's been times where I've been in the edit, and of course you say you're more pre-production. I talk a lot. Like I'll say a lot. So there's always at least an hour in the timeline. And I might be,
Mm,
and I'm editing down. I'm like, okay, and like
dude, I feel you.
I'll be editing, and I'll be like, it'd be so good if I said this.
Yes, I do the same
Editing, and
thing.
I'll be like, I'll get to me saying it. I'm like, yes, yes, put
I
that
did
there.
say it. I did it. Good job.
Good job, Past Eric.
Because Lord knows we can't go and like ad lib it back in because we're not
No,
that
yeah,
good.
yeah.
Like
I
yeah,
won't do it. I won't do it. Can't even remember what I was wearing because that footage is going to be deleted soon.
Yeah,
I might have just been watching it.
Here's an interesting question that's kind of related. How many, when you do a piece of camera, do you have an average number of times you guys say something until you get it right?
Yep.
Or do you just
No.
nail it like on the first take?
Always 3 times.
I
Depends
think
where it is.
Zach gets it on. Zach gets it on the first try. I think.
No, it took me like
No.
3 times at least.
Yeah, see, well, yeah, it depends. Like where we're at. Like if it's outside and it's real world and there's people, very different than like in my
True.
That's
Very
true.
studio, aka
That's
my
true.
apartment. Yeah, so it's very depends on the location. I think is when it makes sense. Because there's times where I'll be like
Mhm.
nailing a piece of camera, and then somebody rides by. I'm like, and then like, hey, how's it going? Like just like that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I have the opposite. I'm more articulate when people are around, and I'm able to
Interesting.
get my words out. Yeah.
Mm.
And when I'm just shooting by myself, then that's when my timeline is like 30, 45 minutes.
Yeah. No, because I think when I was on tour, like I didn't really care because I'm still pretty casual with the YouTube thing, but I would just kind of speak and talk about what was going on. At the very beginning, it was awful to watch. I was like, oh wow, I really say nothing. I'm just like, cool, look at that. That's cool. Like, okay, I need to practice speaking to the camera. But now that I have time to try to film and just actually plan-ish, I wish I could plan like you, Zach. That's so amazing that you have your shots all set up. But I definitely will take more takes now because I do have that extra time, and it's like that little bit of perfectionism coming in. But I almost want to get back to the more raw side of it because I do think that sometimes people relate to that. They like to see a few mistakes and that it's more casual and just kind of person to person, like you're hanging out. So I'm almost like trying to revert back to that, but it's been hard because now I'm like, I want to get it right. It's weird.
Yeah, it's an interesting balance of being articulate enough to get your points across, but not so stiff that you come off
Yes.
like a news
Right.
reporter. you
Right.
know?
Yeah. Or that you're obviously paid by the company.
Right.
I think that's the other one.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
People think you're
Yeah.
saying things.
Yeah.
Mhm. Like it's totally scripted by somebody else.
Yeah, because I have no like organic thoughts. That's the other
God.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gotta
Uh,
love the haters.
Karina here asked an interesting question. Where do you all see your channels in 5 years? Do you guys still see yourselves doing the tubes in 5 years?
Yes.
Silence. Except for
I know.
like,
I mean, I've
I
done it
hope
for
so.
10, so I feel like yeah. I mean, it's gonna be there in some capacity. Yes. I don't know if it's gonna be the same or not, but yeah.
Yeah, I think so. It changes on the daily. There's times where I'm like, yes, I want to do this so badly and I love it and I want to, help more people get into cycle touring and feel like it's accessible. And then there's other days where I just think it's too stressful and this is not the job for me and maybe I'm not the right person to be doing this. So I don't know. It's like a sine wave for me. But I think that I would like to see the channel in 5 years, and I would hope that in 5 years, I would love to be at 100,000 subscribers. I know that's a big goal, but I think that would be a really great thing to happen and just kind of growing the community. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. I would love to have it be just supporting, just living. That would be great.
Yeah. Right.
I'd like to not be like super struggling trying to keep this going, but
Yeah.
that would be great. I love doing it, and I've told people who have asked me, because they'll ask and like, oh, well, how many subscribers do you have? And I'll tell them like, oh, you must make great money. I'm like, I wish. And then I'm just like, but I tell them like, look, I've never done it till the point where I was, let's call it forced to be full time, but like, I've never done it prior to that moment for the money. It's always been for the opportunity to try new things out in the industry and then expose people to the product or the experience or whatever it was. For my channel, it is a lot of reviews, and I'm trying to vary that up. But at the end of the day, it's just like I'm trying to make content and show a massive amount of my audience of different experiences or things that might make their cycling experience better in whatever way it might be. And I think that I enjoy the most. Does it allow me to like try new cool products out? Yes. But the amount of work that I think we all put in versus what we get out of it, let's call it financially, is not the same yet. It would be great if it was, but I was like, they're like, well, yeah, it must be nice. Like you just got like a expensive whatever it was. I'm like, yeah, but I also spent like 80 hours on some video that made me $10.50. Like
I don't want to look at those numbers.
I know, but that's the thing. It's just like nobody gets just like, look,
pennies per hour.
We all push what we push for our own outlets because at the end of the day, it's like it takes a lot of volume, and like subscriber number doesn't even count. It's just views and volume until you actually equate to the amount of financial gain to amount of effort and time you spend in every video. And that is not at all anywhere equal for a long, long time. And so that's something where I think all of us together, because I've obviously we've all, I think we all have seen each other. We all have a really high effort level.
Right.
It's just all trying to make it all balance out. And that's the hard part. And like people would be like, oh, well, a company must have paid you because you said good things. Well, no, I won't put anything on my channel most of the time that isn't great because I wouldn't ask or talk to them if I didn't agree with them. There's companies who hit me up, and I'm assuming everybody else does the same thing. Of just like, no, I don't want your crap because I'm just going to talk shit for 10 minutes. No one's going to want to watch that. But
I've definitely sent those emails. Like,
and that's what I mean. Like everybody knows that that's what happens. And so if we all say yes to that and take that money, like the YouTube money that everybody thinks we make, I think it's not going to make content anyone's going to enjoy, or it's going to discredit the channel for like. I want to get to the level to where Raid Shadow Legends offers to pay me. That's the level I want to get.
I got an offer from Raid.
Oh shit! Okay, Zach, okay.
I told him no because I don't like mobile games.
Keep or whatever else. But damn, Zach. Okay, that Raid money. All right. Damn.
So here's an interesting question from Bike Sauce.
Oh yeah, I just saw that. That's a good question.
When did you stop being glued to the YouTube? I don't think
not yet.
But like, how often do you guys check analytics? How much does it kind of influence what you do? Your feeling for the day?
I stopped January 1st, 2021. I stopped looking.
New Year's resolution.
It wasn't necessarily. I knew that. So like anyone who's familiar with like YouTube's ad revenue and everything, it tanks like once the new year starts.
Yeah. Yep.
The holidays are
what's
over.
going on?
everything tanks. And I think the last, I don't know if we in our half hour after the live stream ends, we talked about it, or if anyway. I had said that this is my first year where it's like I knew it was coming. December was great, and it's like, okay, we're screwed for the next little bit.
Yep.
And like you almost get a bit of freedom for the next 4 months ish to make whatever you want to make and see if it does well, because you don't want to waste these like possible big ideas on months where it's like there's no
CPMs are down.
yeah, the CPMs are
Yeah.
so low.
Yeah.
So
That's
like
interesting. I didn't really realize that. Is that the trend?
That's
that,
a thing. Yeah, like
Okay.
that's YouTube as a whole. So like huge
Hard
channels.
this year. Yeah.
Like any channel that's been doing it for a little while and kind of sees that happen, they're like, oh,
Yeah,
And then-
I did. I was
and
just
then-
like, oh, it's happening.
yeah. So that's very normal. Like,
Okay.
don't be put off.
Yep.
It's like,
by
oh no, I
that,
suck
like,
again.
I'm terrible.
Yeah, you're not terrible.
No,
and
everybody
it-
thought that.
Yeah, and it feels really good watching it come back up for the entire year. So like you have that to look forward to.
That's cool.
And then so like you save your ideas for a little bit, and like I'll become obsessed with it again when I have if I have a big video that takes off and I'm not sure why, I'll start looking at that. Otherwise,
Yeah. Same.
because like none of the if you just look at all my videos, they're all like the same amount of views, no matter what the title is, no matter what the thumbnail is.
Eric's got the luxury of that. Yes.
Well, like it's not a lot. Like, I think. I mean, Russ, Zach, you guys have more. Like your viewer base is bigger, so your numbers are bigger, but the variance is also bigger.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah, my videos it is pretty consistent. Every now and then I'll have one that does a bit better, but you're right. It's kind of always in the same.
Yeah.
Which it's not necessarily a bad thing.
It's a good
like,
thing. You can
people are
just
still
bank
showing
on
up.
that all day. Yeah.
Right, yeah.
It's the same people who just love and I can't believe that many people want to watch it.
I feel like that's sometimes too. Like I'll
It's
try to
so
picture
bizarre.
it if I get
Yeah.
down or something. I try to picture like, wow, this many people are actually sitting and watching the video. That's crazy. I feel like for me, I get sucked into the analytics right after I post a video, and I'll be obsessed
Yeah.
with it for like a day or 2 days, and then I kind of just like let it be. But
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good thing or it's just normal. You just want to check
think
in.
that's-
And
I think it's
yeah.
fun to just watch and see if in the first 4 hours if that video is taking off more. I get a certain level of depression if a video if it comes up as like
Number
in the last
7.
one, if like number 7 the last video I posted was 10 out of 10 and I was like, you fucking assholes.
oh yeah, I guess maybe some people don't know that you get a ranking for people that
Yeah.
don't know. It ranks your video whether it's performing number 1 or number
Yep.
10 in the last in that time period, I suppose.
Yep. And even your average of everything. So I do the same thing. I'll look at ones that slay. Because if I look at all the regular ones, I'll just be like, I don't need more reasons to drink. So yeah, I mean that's just how it goes. Yeah, it just
You
like
guys
yeah,
see
you
how
look,
tormented we are as YouTube.
yeah. I mean that's the thing is like but when I'll have one that randomly hits, I'm just like, this makes no sense because it's usually the videos you're just like,
Yeah.
yeah, and then they do really well. I'm just like, okay, well, how do I replicate that?
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think living and dying by the analytics makes sense. Like only makes sense for the videos that do well, so you can learn from that.
Yes.
But like for me, for numbers' sake, because I did 19 videos in December. In January, I achieved like 10% more overall views with like half the videos, but because of the revenue, I made 30% less money. Like it was like
Crazy.
ridiculous. Yeah. So January and February like are absolute crap. Like
Maybe
in general.
into April.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
won't
It's
be
real.
making-
It's real. It's a very slow, gradual climb. But yeah, it's absolute garbage because like I did, huge volume in December, and it was worth it because of I knew that was going to pay well. And then it tanks so off, even though, like I said, I was like, oh, well, the views are the same, so it shouldn't be that big of a discrepancy. But it was a huge discrepancy. It was ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah, one thing that depressed me recently is I
Should be the topic for next week. One thing to depress us recently.
my influencer stick video
Yep.
is doing much better than my electronic 3-speed hack. which
Well,
I think is a
obviously,
far more
Russ.
interesting video.
Obviously.
It's like you guys have bad taste. Some of these.
Oh,
That's why people
There's
say
no accounting
you're
for
an arsehole.
Well, I mean, why are people watching me like?
Because
butcher
it's
a stick?
hilarious.
Yeah, humor.
And also, that's something I understand. I don't understand the other stuff you do with gears.
Right,
Yeah.
understands one gear all the time.
Yeah.
Brakes.
I
What are you talking about?
understand
Yeah.
selfie photo stick.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, what else?
And
What
other people saying over here.
Yeah. What haven't we covered that would be good? If you guys have any questions, we've got 5 more minutes till the top of the hour. Leave those now in the comments below. We'll try to get people to tune in. Someone had asked a question about a white whale somewhere. Is there like a bike or a piece of gear or a route that you could ride that would just you think would make your channel awesome?
The white whale would be making enough money to pay rent. That's the white whale in my book right now.
It's it's actually kind of like I was talking with Laura. We're about to hit 100,000, and my perception of how much money the channel would make when I was at 30,000, like once you get to 100,000 would be baller. It's not, man. It's like if you work full time at In and Out, you're probably still making more money than me in AdSense.
Well, yeah.
AdSense is
in AdSense. Yeah, I mean, we thank God for like merch sales and the Patreon. That's what keeps us afloat. But like the ad sales is just so hit or miss. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I feel like you have to be getting like hundreds of thousands of views on every single video in order to make a living. On the regs, with AdSense. Yeah, I know, and I think it is tough too, because like a lot of us aren't doing a lot of sponsored videos, and I think that's how a lot of YouTubers make their money is sponsored videos. So
it's crazy. Yeah, you can make it.
He could tell us about that.
Like all my videos have sponsored stuff.
Squarespace sponsors. And
does most of your income come from that then?
Yeah. Zach, do you get the Squarespace money? Have you?
Okay, can we ask what Raid offered? Because I really am curious now. Like,
I must say that they were actually one of the best offers. As in, they did their research. They know how much my channel is worth. They actually quoted the exact amount that I charge.
Whoa. Wow.
Damn. Okay.
Yeah, for the time that they asked for. And I was like, all right, like they know what's up. But I just told them I don't want to do it because like people don't want to play a stupid game.
It's not like
what if they want to sponsor this channel?
Don't fuck it up for all of us.
Not now.
We could have our own like Raid. What is it? I don't know what kind of game it is, but like I've seen enough like things. We're like, it's a Raid fixed gear god, and then it's like 50,000
what is Raid?
and then 50,000 doubloons. I don't know, like something like that. We could have all that kind of stuff. Yeah,
I like this. Yeah, none of us have that burn peak money.
Oh no, that guy. Oh god, that's a whole other thing.
It, man, good for him.
Says Patreon money was more than my salary when I had a good job. That's all I'm gonna say. Like that's just Patreon. He's like, oh, I didn't take salary for a year to pay for this bike park, and then he said like a number, and I'm like,
must be nice.
A lot of Yosemites like that.
Watching Seth though, and like what he's doing with the bike park has made me think. Speaking of like 5-year plans, like what we want to do with the channel and the brand afterwards. I'd like, at least for us, for it to have like some kind of physical manifestation. Like we were joking that maybe we should get buy a property somewhere along the Great Divide and have it like be a cyclist hostel and have it be like an extension of the channel, like a real world kind of manifestation.
Cool.
Yeah,
we could all have like a thing, and then they could all stay at like the different different areas. Be like, what do you want to learn about?
All the great divide rides that come through Halifax, Nova Scotia.
I think that is like what Seth is doing is the next step. Like you can be fine as just like an internet only entity, but I think to keep it interesting, at least for some of us, there's got to be another extension. So for Eric, it's warehouse.
The warehouse.
Zach, I don't. Do you have any big like 5-year plans, or just keep churning the YouTube?
Yeah. So like right now, I'm pretty satisfied the way things are. Like, I feel like it would be greedy of me to ask for more because I feel so fortunate that my job is to do my favorite thing in the world, which is just ride bikes. And I I apologize because I'm about to say how great my life is when we're all saying what makes us depressed. But
We need some positive. Throw it in.
yeah, so
Oh, there's a lot of positive. There's a lot of positive.
so for the next 5 years, I would just want to do more of the same but better. Like there's rides that I want to do. Like I want to ride across the U.S. and like maybe I want to make a documentary about that. And like I want to start a bike company, and I'm not allowed to talk more about that yet.
That's awesome.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah. Yeah. It's good to see like extensions from beyond
Yeah.
the tubes. Yeah. How about you, Ryan? Do you have any 5-year plans?
I don't know. I definitely have gone down the route of like, oh, should I start a local touring company and guide tours? And then I'll just go the opposite direction and think like, no, I'm just going to be a massage therapist on the side and just make videos when I want to. So I don't know. It's tough right now. It's hard for me to envision what might happen on the side for the, like trying to make it more career wise. But just besides, again, just exactly try to keep making better videos, more videos that are going to reach more people. That's kind of the goal right now. And then Darren, who just got home right now, she has a real life job. So that's nice.
Weird.
Weird. What's that? Like, I know. Salary.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Benefits. Well,
I mean, she kind of does that
Money?
too.
What?
She don't do that.
She's got one of those was it the W3s? What is it? W2s?
What is that? What are those letters and numbers?
4 H's.
Yeah, 4 H's. Yeah.
You're over it?
Yeah.
I think she just said I'm over it.
No, I said it's not.
Oh, it's not worth it.
it isn't.
Yeah.
It isn't worth it, and that's why I quit my job.
I just
to do
yeah.
to do
I need
this.
to do this. Give it a
Yeah.
try.
Yeah.
Come show your face for a sec. I think we're wrapping up, but you could.
Yeah. I think let's have one last. Hey, it's Darren.
Hey.
My other half, my partner in adventure.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
here's have you guys noticed any growth like during COVID? Like I feel like it's an interesting opportunity just because so many people are watching, online and getting into bikes.
Wait.
I think so. I think when we started this like in July, that was like a big rant for the channel, at least for me. And it kind of stayed on that course, I think, till the end of the year. It did taper off. I say near a little bit near the end of the year.
Yeah.
But I think, at least in like my area in California, like during the first real lockdown, like and when we kind of started this, like views were up because everyone was home and doing nothing.
Right.
Now everybody's kind of half working to where like the views are down and the pay is down, so it's doubly down. But no, I think COVID definitely. I wanted to create content that was cohesive for that, and that was like kind of a thought process that I had. Now with the industry being out of everything, it's definitely changed a little bit of that, but that's something that I've tried to be aware of. And I'll mention in my videos, like, hey, when I did my like Microshift Advent X group set review, I'm like, hey, this is probably not available. So if you try to find it, it's probably gone. Like I mentioned that. And I'm just like, and I'll still get comments like, this is a great group set. Can't find it. I'm like, yeah, dude, like it's like a month after I put that out. Like, what do you expect? I was like, there's a link to the website, not a like Amazon for a reason. Like, and now all my reviews are just like, I will put an Amazon link below if the product is available. Like, like I'll do that, but like that's all I can do. But yeah, so it's definitely changed certain parts of that review process. But I think as far as like view wise, like I try to make aspirational stuff if I can. There's like my top 5 videos or whatever for certain budget ranges. Cause hey, some of that might be available now. And a lot of sites now are doing the like notify me by email, like if things are available. So it's, or I try to work with or companies that are all hand done or whatever. And you can hope for the best, or you'll get an email when it's available and you can go from there. But that's the world we live in now. So you got to go from that.
Right. Right. I mean, I think there's a lot of opportunity because, people were consuming video content before, but during lockdown with, restaurants and all that stuff taken away, I think there's, as YouTubers, it's strangely been a little bit more stable than other professions.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
It's
true.
because
Yeah.
people are online watching. That's not changing. If anything, it's increasing. And there's this big entertainment gap, education gap that like we can all fulfill, which I think is kind of exciting.
Yeah, I need to like rein that in and remember that from time to time. Because like there'll be days like I'll wake up, I'll eat breakfast and drink coffee for the first 4 hours of the day and not do anything. And like I'll think like I'll see like I watch a lot of like the CNBC stuff where it's like showing people struggling and stuff, and I'm like, how are they even struggling? I'm not even doing anything right now, and I'm doing fine. Just being this like privileged asshole, and Angela will like completely put me in my place sometimes. She's like, Eric, you like started a business 5 years ago that's finally gotten successful. Shut up. And I'm like, right. Okay.
You're like,
Got
hey, they
it.
should just start YouTube channels.
Yeah,
now.
like and I actually just recently 2 days ago started a secret YouTube channel to like help rein that in a little bit, where I was like, okay, like how hard is it? Can I remember how hard it is to start?
Mm.
Mhm.
And I've got 2 videos posted on the secret channel right now. The first video has 2 views. The second one has 0 views.
Hell yeah! And you even watched it. Yeah, and you even watched it like 3 times.
I could have watched it, and it had nothing. And people know who I am. Like I'm like, holy
Called
moly!
Secret Channel?
Did you
Like-
put a title? Just no title, no tag.
There's
You're
there's
not-
titles. It's
you're not
very
even-
similar to the
It's just a
concept.
blank video.
Yeah.
I wanted to test the system.
Oh man.
There's sometimes okay. There's one thing I have to mention. I've seen it once before everybody else, just because like it's upsetting sometimes when you see like the overnight success. Has anybody come across that when like it's real aggressive? Like there was one suggested video I saw on like my feed, and I like the tiny home van life stuff or whatever. I think everybody does in part because we all wish we could do that. And there was like one video it popped up, and it was like some young girl. She did like the van life, and it had like 2 million views. And I was like, okay, well, it must be a big channel. Like, cool, must see good content. I watched it. I was like, this is crap. And then I was like, all right. And then I looked at her channel. It was her first video, and I was like, what? And then it was
Hey,
like
that's
the
tough,
second.
though.
No, I know. And then like the next day, it had like she's like, well, I quit my job now because like GQ magazine
Yeah.
offered me a photo shoot. And blah 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 blah. I'm like, what? I've been struggling for 10 years, and then you do one video with your iPhone that's like not even landscape, and you're making GQ magazine, and then I'm just sitting there like, oh god, and then I get real sad, and I drink a lot of whiskey, and so anyways, I had to put that in because that's a real
don't
YouTube
sign up
secret.
for TikTok, because then you're gonna
Well,
get real disappointed.
I can't. My liver can't even like download TikTok, so it's
Yeah.
fine. Yeah.
I mean, that's one thing I've
Millions
learned.
of
It's
Well,
like,
the millions of views on TikTok, you'll do nothing, and then these people are overnight successes, and you're like, what? They ate an ice
Don't-
cream, or like they emulated someone.
They did it special though. They did
We
it
would
different.
all eat ice cream for 10 million views.
Yeah.
I'm just saying. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that is one kind of. I don't know if it's frustrating. It's just how it is sometimes. But like different channels just grow at different rates. Like
Yeah.
like I think last year I cranked out almost 200 videos, just like killing myself to try to get to 100,000. And by the end of it, like I was burnt out, and I just realized, it's gonna grow at the rate it's gonna grow.
Yeah, you put out an unbelievable amount of content. I
Yeah.
don't know how you do it.
I don't even know how it's possible. I'm a little suspicious. Do you have a twin that you're not talking about?
But it's like some channels will get to like 100,000 and they've got like 200 videos or 100 videos. I'm
Yeah.
like 1,000 videos in.
No, it's the 10 videos. That's the ones that piss me
that's
off.
Exactly. That's what I was thinking 10 or 20, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah.
Yeah, if you want to be mad at someone who grows really, really fast, like look at, I think he's been doing it long enough now, but like look at Mark Rober. Like you just look at when he posted his Super Bowl video, like the longest yard kick that he posted this Sunday. When I saw it, it was uploaded for 4 hours with 16 million views.
Oh,
That's
geez.
unreal. That's unreal. But it's like a crazy amount of production that he does in those.
Yeah,
Because
like
he does
he-
one a month, right?
He does
It
one a
doesn't
month.
matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't
Yeah.
matter. Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, it still makes
Unbox Therapy he'll post. Yeah, he's got a crew and a 10,000 foot like warehouse, and he's got. I've sent him product from an old job, and I saw it one time in like a drone shot in the corner for one frame, and I'm like, hey. Our bike showed up, and then it never was in a video. But we sent $1,000 bike to him on like crossed fingers because I was like, well, it's worth it if it ever shows up. But you never know. Yeah.
Well, on that note, I'm going to take us home. Thanks, Ryan and Darren for popping in.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Yeah.
Glad
if you guys enjoyed this video, there's still 120 of you. Give it a thumbs up, and yeah, I think our goal is to just bring in other bike YouTubers that we like and
take over the internet. Yeah,
maybe even some we don't.
Yeah.
I'm terrible.
Bike YouTubers we hate.
Yeah, that's it.
But not from an elitist standpoint. Just
right. That's right.
From
Yeah,
a personal standpoint.
But Russ's pedestal of elitism is the highest. If anyone's going to rank any of us, remember that he is the tallest of all of us.
He does have the neon light. That light is.
That's
like,
true. He's got the TikTok lights of anybody in the back. I'm just saying.
I'm going to carve elitist on this. That's it. All right. Well, thanks everyone for watching, and keep bikes weird.
Keep bikes
I think
weird.